tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads from over 200 countries and your #1 source in after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
There we go.
There's a song. I picked this jam out. Don't you love it?
I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
All right, guys, welcome world. You are tuned into AfterBuzzTV.com. We have the most fabulous Miss America recap. I would call it the official Miss America recap, but I don't think that I can call it official.
Well, anything's official.
But we're pretty.
We're here.
Yeah,
hello.
We're very official.
It's happening. Yeah,
we tweeted it. It's done.
So I'm your host Erica Davis, and we all are former Miss America organization title holders. We, we didn't win Miss America, but we all competed in the Miss America organization. So introduce yourselves, ladies.
I'm Monica Pong. I was Miss Georgia back in the day, 2005, and I was first runner-up to Miss America, Jennifer Berry.
Get it, girl. That's so amazing. My name is Meghan Lamontagne, and I was the first ever Miss New Hampshire's Outstanding Teen in 2005, and I was also first runner-up to Miss New Hampshire in 2009.
Woohoo!
Holla, I'm Noelle Freeman. I was Miss California in 2011 and fourth runner-up to Miss America 2012.
And I'm Erica Davis, and I was Miss South Georgia 2004, and way back before Miss America's Outstanding Teen, I was a Ware County's Junior Miss.
That's
Junior Miss. That's a really big honor, by the way. I don't realize it until now.
It's awesome.
You're like, it's a really good organization.
It is. And so all you pageant junkies and non-pageant junkies out there, I'm sure you've already watched the Miss America pageant. You were sitting on the edge of your seat, either being super excited or super unenthused about the competition. Underwhelmed.
Or like getting on the seat and doing your sit-ups. Like after watching Miss USA, I always like do some sit-ups. Not actually.
And then you're like, where's the celery?
Yeah. But then today was different. I wasn't doing that.
Yeah. We're gonna break this thing down. Let's kind of start off with the difference between Miss America and Miss Universe, Miss USA. And a lot of people out there don't really understand it. And I can say the one difference to me is that it's a scholarship pageant. It's more about scholastic achievements and social platforms than it is about being beautiful.
Right, and there's obviously the talent portion. The Miss Universe, Miss USA doesn't have that particular competition, that phase of competition. So that kind of sets us apart. But let's be real. I think no matter what, at the end of the day, beauty still is going to play into it. You know, no matter if it's a scholarship program, it plays a part.
And also, when you have a crown on your head, your beautiful face should be underneath.
It should be. Another major difference, I know many of us did compete in the Miss USA system, and as well as Miss America, but another huge difference is Miss America contestants have to have a platform, something they stand for, and Miss USA
but have you noticed? No, but have you noticed that the U.S. like at the recent telecast, they had them speak about a platform, or didn't you notice?
Copycats.
I know. What was it? I mean, it's obvious they're like
they're trying to show that they have some depth.
Yeah, exactly.
They have a heart. They have a soul.
Yeah. And look, guys, there's no knock on the Miss Universe organization at all. I mean, each organization has her own place in the world. Also, the Miss America is the end of the road. For Miss America contestants, to be a Miss America contestant, you have to win a local pageant. And then the Miss Universe organization, you kind of just buy your
buy your ticket.
You buy your ticket.
Into the state pageant.
Yeah, I actually like that. I think it's a more straight. I think the Miss Universe organization has a very straightforward approach to something that the Miss America organization is kind of trying to hide, by certain publicity stunts. I guess you could say they're not really sure of what they are, and I think that the Miss Universe organization has been very upfront from the very beginning. This is what they are. This is how you become it, and it's two totally different career paths. It's like if you want to be a model, you want to be in the entertainment industry, you'll have the connection contestants through the Miss Universe organization. If you're looking to be, a doctor, a lawyer, something that takes a lot of education, it's smarter to go the Miss America route.
There's no qualms about it. Like, they're about beauty,
Different,
entertainment.
right.
That's what they're after.
Yeah, absolutely.
And not that Miss America girls are not beautiful, but we will debate that topic a little bit later tonight.
Let's be clear about this, because someone just commented, like, beauty's only skin deep. Well, no, right now we're talking about the skin deep beauty.
True.
We don't know these girls, just like you don't know any of the celebrities or anyone that you might idolize. It is a physical, attraction or draw at first.
And I think a lot of it, and I know we'll get into it a little bit later, but I think a lot of it had to do with the lighting and the makeup. And I know
and the angles.
And the angles.
were
And that's not necessarily,
not good.
it's not the girl's fault. It's come on, ABC.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the beginning of the competition, the swimsuit. Or no, let's
that's
actually
not the
back up.
beginning.
I know. Let's
We need to take a step back here.
Let's take a step back and talk about how they announced the top 15 or 16 or 17.
And then put 3 girls to work.
So, okay, yeah, exactly. They put 3 girls to work. They had to be the social media mavens. Now,
Like, I would be like, peace. That's, where's my paycheck? Like,
And you're
gonna put
Miss
me to
Social
work?
Media. Like, for you to say that.
Well, because I know that it takes a lot to go behind it, and when you're driving a telecast and you're hoping that Twitter, is trending and everything, you need to have a full-blown agency covering your Instagram, not 3 girls who are depressed now because they didn't make the cut.
And they were covering Miss America's Instagram, right?
Right, and that's like a huge...
It's a huge deal.
Yeah.
So how did these girls get picked? I totally missed that. I mean, I would be super jealous if I was one of the girls that didn't get picked.
Me too.
would you really be? Are you being facetious?
Well, I get what she's
debatable.
saying, because I'd be like, okay, I'm working here, but
Think
at the
about
same time,
okay, so you worked really hard. So for Miss California, who I know, she obviously had been prepared very heavily to make that cut. You didn't make it.
Yes.
You're like still processing. Every Miss California in the history has always made that cut.
Yeah.
And then now you have to like take pictures of celebratory moments of the girls who get to live your dream right in front of you.
Well, I just always feel sorry for all of the girls, and
Maybe
they
I'm
have to
just-
sit up there with the camera
That's
still
true.
on them, and I'm sure they're just wanting to run backstage and like cry it out.
Well, let me tell you, Monica,
hurts.
because see, Monica, I don't think, Monica, you never had to deal with that, because you were always,
Oh, please.
I'm being serious, so you were always in the top 10 or place, right?
We never had to
No.
sit down. We never had to sit down.
Let me tell you, what
Did you
do.
ever have to sit down?
Not in that sense, but yes, not on the Miss America stage, but I did. Like
The Miss America stage was the first time I've ever lost a pageant, and it was like kind of like this. What? It was like I never had to deal with something
guys,
like
let's
that.
just put something in perspective. I love my state: Georgia, California, New Hampshire. Okay, this girl's used to sitting down a lot.
Oh my gosh!
have y'all ever had a Miss America?
I never had a Miss America.
Georgia's only had one, 1953.
That's an interesting fact.
That's
I
weird.
never would have guessed
Georgia's
that.
always consistent.
And we
We're
had a
very,
good
very
run for a
consistent.
while of like, high placements, but not another winner.
Well, California's
Need
had
to
the
change.
top. Well, California, Oklahoma both have
Yes.
equal sticks, but we've always made the top 15 at least, except for one year. But pretty much for the past 10 years, we've always made the top 15.
Well,
top
let's
20.
quickly talk about the top 17 or whatever. Were there any surprises who made the top 17? I keep saying 17 because the first person
it
that
17?
the first person they announced was Miss Idaho, who's the People's Choice, and then they announced was it 14 others, and then there was the Miss Nebraska they kind of tacked on at the end of it. So
North
maybe,
Dakota.
North Dakota.
North Dakota.
Nebraska.
No, she was
they're all
like
in.
the
All around that
judges
same
pick.
Judges pick.
So it's 15 plus the audience's vote plus the judges' extra throw in.
So were there any surprises in that group of 15? Now, to me, I mean,
I'm always surprised, like when a state like Iowa, because they're not necessarily known for their pageantry.
Yeah, they're
in
not.
general. So
But to the outside world, like to the viewer who
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with her, just the state in general. You don't hear of it
absolutely.
often.
But I really am always shocked when I watch pageants with people that are just observers. They're not involved. Like I didn't track anything this year. Like didn't even know who was. So it was like the first time I was seeing it.
Yeah.
And I feel like they were all kind of like what like.
I'll tell you, I was more surprised by who wasn't in there.
Okay.
There you go.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
we were
yeah,
surprised
yeah.
that California didn't make it, or that Georgia. I mean, who do you guys? I was
Yeah.
surprised, of course, that Georgia. I mean, obviously, I'm from Georgia originally.
Well, I was
so
just on some pageant site earlier this week, and they had her picked. I mean, they were just predicting, but they had her picked as a winner. and she didn't even make the top 17.
She's the blonde, right? Yeah, she's
Maggie Bridges.
She was one of the social media.
Beautiful.
Yes.
She's really pretty.
See, I don't know their talent or anything, but I think
really flipping through the pictures of the contestants, I thought she was probably the most striking of any.
So
of
what
them.
happened, do you think?
I don't know.
So that's the thing is, like, we don't see who, if you're not following, we don't know what happens. We just see them introduce themselves, which those intros are never flattering.
Okay, so
and I couldn't understand what they were saying. They were trying to do it in one take. And then if somebody messes up, that's
the dancing in the background has got to go, guys. It's got to go.
It's awkward.
Some girls don't have rhythm. Don't make them stand out.
Okay, and you know when you're, did you do a live film for the intro, or did you?
It was live.
Okay, so ours was pre-filmed as well. Like this show, and it was literally 3 days from like 5 a.m. So you're so tired, you don't look your best. So the angles and the shots that they actually end up using on live television of you, you're like exhausted.
I would rather see that.
Yeah,
like what they used to do.
I would too.
I would rather, because that gives every girl an opportunity to speak that night and get seen on national
They're
television.
feeding off of the energy that's in the room. Like you get a real feel for them.
The thing about that is that the timing is always off from producers, so they can never gauge how much time that will actually take. That's why they don't do that.
I understand that, but I feel like it takes away an opportunity for a contestant to really show herself and to really
USA
shine.
still does it, which I love.
Exactly.
They're like 23.
As far as the timing, you have like air traffic control going off the stage, like right in front of you. Like, you can understand directions.
Producing is what I think it is. It's lazy. Like a lot of the show looked lazy to me.
Okay, so top 15, the awkward dancing in the back. I felt like
the fun facts.
The fun facts. There was a lot of weirdness, but from the top 15, can we say anything positive that we took away from the top?
I mean, there were several prelim winners in there.
And Virginia and Mississippi love.
Okay.
Yeah, they were just like they had a put togetherness. They looked like they had prepared. That's the thing that baffles me is that these girls show up, you know, with a little bit of a belly or whatever, and or like, you know, their hair all messed up. I'm like, did you not?
You had 5 months to prepare.
Television,
but you know, there's also a fine line between prepared and pageant Patty, where they're like,
are
you
the
real?
Pageant Patty?
That's
though.
true.
Like Florida, she like.
But Florida, what I loved about Florida is she kept her hair straight.
She did.
Kept it simple, pulled back. I really liked that, and she was just the total package. And I agree. I'm disappointed for her. I wish she would have done a little bit better.
And Virginia too. And Virginia did have a more candidness. She kept like was shocked she made it this far, like the Taylor Swift.
But you know, I feel like that was almost put on a little too much too.
Okay. You never know. Did you ever
like I'm so real? I'm going to put it on. What's that?
Did you ever practice your winning moment?
God, no.
I had that thing where
I never thought I was going to win.
Oh, really?
No. I mean, I want it, and I would like envision, like, that's what I want.
When they were going down, they were going second runner-up, first runner-up. I'd say in my head, I'd think of other things. I'd be like, they're not going to come. I'd say,
that's so
I'd start thinking about slinkies and random things, like, and then they'd call my name. But if I'd say, they're going to say Meghan, they're going to say Meghan. They never say my name. I'm like, damn it.
Oh my gosh, how interesting. What about you?
Never thought of the winning moment. Just kind of just prayed that it would be over so I could eat, you know? 'Cause spend so much time not eating. Okay, but speaking of not eating, let's talk about, after the top 15 was announced, then the swimsuit competition. Now, the swimsuit competition, Miss America now calls the lifestyle and fitness competition, or lifestyle and fitness.
It was much more lifestyle than fitness.
Yes. Now, for everyone out there watching,
well, that was very nicely put.
Understand that when it comes to the average everyday woman, like, these women have good bodies for average everyday women, but when you're on the stage or walking the catwalk, you know, you have a million lights on you and you're being judged on your fitness.
Extra 10 pounds, the camera, the placing on your body.
Exactly.
I understand. I think a lot of the girls looked healthy, which I appreciated. I'd much rather see this than the girls that looked like they had eating disorders on other stages I've seen.
Correct.
So I'm happy about that, but I also felt like, you know, when you're competing against one another, you really want to show your best physique that you can, and that you've been working out, and that you're consistent, and that it wasn't just like you started very recently.
Okay, bones is one thing, like no gross, move on. But like a tone, this isn't like we're looking for, a bodybuilder. However, you're showing us your discipline, you're showing us your goal setting and your ability to achieve that. And I know for me, like Miss America stage was the best shape I've ever been in. Like I'm so proud of how disciplined I was, and I'll always be able to have that achievement, just like when you go to bodybuilding contests. And these girls, to me, didn't seem, for the most part, look like they had put in that discipline and the effort that like someone, like I had competed or you had competed on that stage and put in that effort. And so it's like, wait a minute, I wish I would have competed that year, and then I wouldn't have had to like work so hard.
In their defense, just a little bit, like ABC, I love you. You're one of my favorite networks. However, why can't the camera angles be something a little bit more flattering? Like, do you really have to pan up her leg, like up her, it's just.
And some of the close-ups just seem so random.
It was so random.
And let's just get a close-up on Miss Oklahoma's ankle brace.
Right. And so I just think that didn't help them any, you know what I mean? And that's something that I do praise the Miss USA
the swimwear
and Miss Universe for doing correctly. I feel like they're back, they're getting their walk down the runway. So that's something that needs to be fixed.
So we keep referencing Miss USA, Miss Universe. I don't know.
I'm not saying I'm more with the USA. I think that they know who they are a little bit more and they own it.
Yeah.
And I think we're still kind of not sure, and I think that's where
I think
America's
they have more money behind them.
True.
That's what it is. Because when you have the right money, you can get the right angles. They have the hair and makeup backstage. You don't have to be sitting there doing your own hair and makeup.
Giving yourself a bad
bad contouring, which we'll talk about because there was some bad contouring.
Do you guys remember your favorite swimsuit? My favorites were Tennessee and Florida.
Florida's everything. And Virginia.
Yes, I had Florida.
I liked Oklahoma. I know that you guys didn't.
No, I loved Oklahoma.
Okay, I loved Oklahoma swimsuit. The thing is swimsuits were not flattering.
And that was another thing.
Let's talk about the swimsuits. Now, are we sure about this being a Catalina sponsor?
It's 100% sponsored by Catalina.
I'm almost positive.
Yeah, me too. I don't know.
And I've never had a problem with Catalina swimwear until this pageant.
I've never worn Catalina. I'm under the impression they're a Walmart they're distributed in Walmart, which I don't think aligns with the Miss America brand, in my opinion.
Well, see, I think that the blue collar Walmart brand is very consistent with the Miss America brand, because Miss America seems to underplay the beauty and the fabulousness of women.
They want to.
Then why is she wearing jewels on her head?
They want to tell people anybody can be Miss America. They're making that statement. Anyone, even if you shop at Bloomingdale's versus Walmart, you can. Literally, like, there were people that competed in hand-me-downs and things that were from Walmart or from Kmart or Target, wherever it was, and they won local pageants, state pageants.
But they're not Miss America. Like, I haven't heard that story before.
Well, by the time you get to Miss America,
the state gets a hold of them and puts them in something else.
There you go. Yeah, I don't know. I think that, like, there's just an inconsistency, which goes back to what we were saying in the very beginning. You're having a Walmart sponsor, but then yet you're putting diamonds, and then she's, traveling first class and getting paid $2,000 an appearance for an hour and signing autographs. How is that consistent?
So if they're going to do all that, they could add a little bit more material so we don't see them
little more support.
You know what I mean?
Little more support.
Cheap swimsuits with the cups. I could see the cups.
Yeah, you can see the lining of the cups.
And that I kind of blame on the girls in the state, because I sent mine right away to the tailor and put in a fake bra.
So we're hoping that they
should have done that.
Do we think they got the chance?
Who knows? That's true. They could have just been given them there that night.
They had a quick turnaround time. I know that. It was very quick. So maybe they were just doing what they could.
Well, my only last qualm with the swimsuits is that the way they're cut so high. Like, when you go to the beach, I mean, come on, 2014, first of all, women are barely wearing clothes on the beach anyway in the first place. But the swimsuits that they have, like, they're covering their full bottom. I mean, I'm not saying that we need to, like...
Oh, I felt like they weren't.
I feel like the whole bottom was covered like granny panties.
I agree.
Some of them, I think,
but
not all of them, but I think a couple of them I felt like were.
Same.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought that they actually had a scrunch butt. Like, where you have the...
Like, in the middle?
Yeah.
Well, maybe some of them did.
Maybe some did.
Maybe they weren't sprayed down well enough.
Yeah, right. That's another thing.
Well, listeners out there, if you ever want to get good makeup or good products, you can go to birchbox.com. This is a great opportunity to talk about it, since we're talking about makeup and scrunch butts. Go to birchbox.com, and for $10 a month, you get samples if you use the code AFTERBUZZ TV. AFTERBUZZ. And you get 100 points towards your purchases. So birchbox.com, use the AFTERBUZZ code, and you get lots of free goodies and samples.
Love Birchbox.
Delivered to your door. Delivered to your door. Swimsuit, scrunch butts, granny panties. We disagree, but we all do agree that the swimsuits kind of sucked, for lack of a better word. Evening wear.
So this is where...
Tell me.
Because I don't think everybody realized that Tony Bowles was the sponsor, the evening gown sponsor. So basically every single girl had to wear a Tony Bowles gown.
So tell me how that works, because
from what I understand, after the girl, whoever won the state pageant, wins, the next day or within the next week or so, she had a meeting on the phone with Tony Bowles, and they kind of sketched out a design together, and then it would be sent to her.
The ladies did have a say in what they were.
They did, I think, within reason.
Yeah.
You know, and I think you have to get 52 dresses out, so you're on a quick timeline, and you have certain amount in stock. You can't be shipping it from overseas.
More, and girls that you think will actually be wearing them on television versus
a lot
girls
of
that
talk
will
I
not.
heard that, you know, if there was some sort of connection between certain states and Tony Bowles, that maybe he looked more favorably.
I mean, that's so. You know, it's so great having Tony Bowles as a sponsor. It's such a fantastic.
And every girl got an amazing gown,
and every girl
that they may not have been able
to be
to
in Tony
afford.
Bowles. However, a privilege when you don't have a sponsor is when you're actually, like, before you go to Miss America and you know you have fittings, you can get it fit to your body.
Yes.
But I feel like these ladies didn't have that chance.
I think I would have been really upset. Like, I loved my state gown so much that I wore it at Miss America.
That
if someone had told me,
was it the
white and like a beige
cream? Yes,
color.
it was really pretty.
But if had I not been able to wear what I wanted and what I felt my best in, it probably would have shown through in some way or another.
So much. The thing that bothers me is that this hurts the local sponsors that, like, may have had that opportunity to be on television in their local.
I will say,
at the end of the
in
day,
defense of that the girls could compete in the preliminaries in whatever gown they wanted.
But that's not I know a huge selling point for a lot of these girls is saying to their sponsors that are providing wardrobes throughout their entire year, and then the one time that actually matters, we have this big prom and pageant, you know, dinosaur who's doing fabulous in that industry anyhow.
Right.
That, like, another local designer or someone can't have that space. I think it's just.
And I'm sad. Like one of my dear friends, Greg Ellenberg, like put some amazing dresses. He did your dress too. And,
he's great.
You know, he had amazing designs, and nobody got to see them. You know, I mean, he's such a nice guy that, like, he was like, you know, it is what it is, and he wants to support the girls no matter what, so he was willing to do that.
So he gave, and then he, like, you know,
he
did their
Ohio, California, Delaware, Georgia. Actually, Georgia wasn't his. South Carolina, I think.
For prelims? Oh, okay. And so what people might not know, is that there are prelims.
Yeah, there are preliminaries. Yeah, so there's a week, literally a week long, that we don't see. I mean, of course, as pageant junkies, like, we're watching, we're checking online, we're texting, and, you know, calling our people back home or wherever to see what's going on. But they're competing in interview and talent, and it's an entire week of, like, I don't know, CrossFit games, but for pageants. Do we have a caller?
Hi, this is Shanika in LA. How are you?
Hey.
Hi.
I have a question. It's something that's always I've always wondered about. And I hope I'm not, you know, offending anybody, but I've always noticed that with the Miss USA competition and Miss America shows, Miss USA gets a lot more publicity, and it seems to, I guess, appeal to more people. So what would you do if you were the Miss America's producers to make the show a little bit better? I'm sorry, not better, but different?
That's a great
question.
Maybe
appeal to more people?
Hire Donald Trump.
One thing, is it Shanika?
Yes.
Oh, hey, Shanika, thanks for your question. One thing that I would do personally, having competed in both the Miss America and the Miss Universe organizations, the Miss USA organization, I feel it appeals more to the contemporary woman. It's very sexualized. It's very over-sexualized. And no matter how, you know, we might try to fight it, like, in this day and age, like, sex sells and sex pushes ratings. Now, for the Miss America organization, there's so many other facets that make it a wonderful organization. competition, but for ratings and to get men watching and women and to get women to aspire towards what these women look like on stage, they have to be sexy. They have to have the boobs. They have to have the toned legs.
They have to be modern.
They have to be modern.
And the thing is that Donald Trump advertised the Miss USA pageant as find out who the sexiest or most beautiful woman is in America. Miss America says watch history being crowned. Those are their taglines. So, I mean, right there, which one are you going to watch?
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily think that what Miss America is doing is horrible either, because people watch Miss USA and Miss America for two totally different reasons a lot of times. Miss USA, you know you're going to get a sexy model.
I think they don't know which one's which.
Maybe. But Miss America, I think people are looking for the all-American girl, that girl next door. But I think what is happening, and sort of a negative towards Miss America, is that ABC or the producers or whatever, it's just taking a very cheesy turn, and I'm like, ugh, I get what they're trying to do with social media. I get they're trying to get them dancing.
Too hard.
They're trying too hard.
Trying too hard to be cool.
You need to tone it down a little bit.
And speaking of the cheese factor, Shanique, I don't know if you're still there, but one thing that I find to be very cheesy, and this is horrible to say, but the talent competition
it's sad
ends
but
up
true.
being very cheesy in a day and age where you have American Idol and America's Got Talent, and so you think you can dance, and all these different entertainment shows that showcase America's talent, not just here but across the world. You really get to see the pick of the litter of who's really truly talented out there. Then you watch Miss America and you're hoping to see this fantastic singer or this amazing dancer, and then you get this girl on point who's barely even on point, or this singer who's singing out of tune,
Or the ventriloquist.
Or the ventriloquist who's like, I'm not moving my mouth, but I'm moving my mouth the whole time with my dummy. So there's a huge cheese factor to the talent competition.
Agree.
I mean, I think their heart's in the right place. I cannot sit here and bash MAO because of everything that I've gotten out of. Literally, like, they put me through school. I'm getting my master's thanks to them. Like, there's no way I can bash them. But I think there are ways to improve, and I'm sure they would agree with that.
This is why we're saying that, because MAO, we do love you so much that we want you to be represented in the best way possible.
And I don't want it to die. I think there's such a place for it.
Exactly.
Weren't there a few years in there where we weren't even televised? It was just streaming online? My
year, we moved to Las Vegas because we had lost our network, and the only one that would pick us up was CMT.
Yeah. Ooh. So streaming online, essentially.
Or worse.
Right?
I don't know why that was a delay.
Streaming online is a win in that case. CMT.
But, and they're back on network, and I think that, maybe there needs to be some better synergy with ABC and them to figure out what's really the problem here, and figure out who you
want to keep the
are.
ratings as well. We want to
you
keep
have
ABC.
to keep the ratings if you're going to keep the organization
Exactly.
alive.
Okay, so let's talk about some of the talents. Now, I'm just going to put it out there. Was not impressed with any of the talent, and I find from year to year to year, even at the local
Mississippi,
even at Florida. Okay, listen.
Florida was pretty good.
Florida
better than Alabama.
Taking the entire sample with which we had to deal, Florida may have been the leader of the pack.
I wanted at least one person to blow me away.
You want that one person to blow your mind.
I get it. Now I get why they have talent competition.
Exactly. Okay, so was anyone blown away? We weren't blown away.
No,
Noelle,
I do want to see more
Meghan?
variety, though. Not maybe ventriloquism, but I do want to see. I was really excited for the violin.
Let's talk about the winner's talent.
Okay, Miss New.
Oh, I was like, I can't even remember, but now I remember.
Okay,
how could you not remember? Oh my gosh! The red cup, which by the way, we've been seeing tweets, must be going on eBay for like $75
penny
now.
Okay, so if you missed it, which you didn't.
Well, I will say, as a pianist, Massachusetts was a solid talent. I didn't think it was good. I didn't think it was a showstopper, but I thought that she did a very good job. And I'm so appreciative that she didn't use a background track. Thank you, Miss Massachusetts. I really appreciate that.
A background track.
For piano, it happens a lot, and I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan personally.
I'm not a fan of Miss New York's red cup routine. So Miss New York took a red cup and literally played the cup game. And what's funny is right before she started, I was like, oh, she has a red cup. She's going to play the cup game. And she freaking played the cup game.
I don't even know what the cup game is.
It's what she did. It's like where you take a cup and you like make a beat.
I think she's showing, as Miss America, look, I can do a lot.
I mean,
at once.
It was exactly what Anna Kendrick did in Pitch Perfect. At the end, did you guys see the movie? It's the same thing.
She's relevant. I thought overall she was very charming.
But okay, so I've judged pageants before, and one of Miss America's tenets is do you want to see it again? Is it something you want to see again? I don't think so. Like, that was cute,
Well,
but
now
it
that
wasn't.
she won, I'm like, let's see it again, because I wasn't really paying attention.
Well,
no, I'm just kidding.
well, someone when she was doing it was like, you have to have a little bit more soul to pull that off. I mean, listen, guys.
Oh, yes.
happy-
That was a definite,
Yes.
that was good, well said,
Yes.
yes.
You know, like, it was one of the happiest songs of the year.
Pharrell Williams, I mean, like, he's
Right.
the man this year, sung that song. Like, that's like when people sing Wicked and they, or
Yes.
Frozen, or
Yes.
Right.
Let It Go.
And
I'm
it's
like,
so flat.
It's like you cannot
It's such-
compare
so
to the
powerful.
original. Don't try.
Right.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why she
Well,
had the
and not
cup.
only that, like, that particular song, like, you want to dance to it.
Right,
and she's
then you're sitting. Good
and,
point.
You know,
I
like,
think it would have done her a lot more justice if she sang the song, but she was like using her personality because you could tell she was very bubbly,
probably,
cute.
right.
Yeah.
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 Or I say maybe she should have taken 4 red cups and like really done some tricks with
Or
them.
she could have bedazzled those red cups.
Okay, but talk about cheese. Like, come on. I give the girl props for sitting down and just being like, you know, F it.
with my one red cup. Okay, look, Oklahoma's talent.
When in doubt,
I felt like she was just trying to do it
sparkle.
to be different. Like,
good
just,
for her. She did it.
That was why.
Yeah,
That
and
was
she
it.
stood out. You know, but see, let's not forget that, like, people might not know this. There's heavily, you know, influenced states that, like, the girl themselves maybe didn't pick that. They maybe didn't pick the way they had their hair.
That's
So,
true.
She did, though.
We don't know.
We got the inside scoop.
You got the inside scoop? Okay, I don't know.
Someone told me, so maybe I don't have the. But,
Okay.
like, someone told me she did the same thing at her state pageant.
Oh,
so-
well, then there you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it worked
But
there.
you do bring up a good point. Some contestants don't have a say.
Yeah, especially actually heard in New Hampshire. Like, California's pretty liberal with it. You, like, can actually do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But, like, I've heard that in some states she has to go and, like, make sure that her hair is approved. Oh, no, you need to wear it up and curl. And then let's keep in mind that these people are much older. They've been around for, you know,
Right.
50 years.
That's
and
true.
they're-
I
so
can't
they
speak
have
for
a little
every
dated-
state. Like, Georgia is really, they want to support the girl however they can.
That's
and they're
awesome.
willing to, but I think they also want to give input, and they get feedback from the judges, and they'll say, you know, this is kind of the feedback we got.
Yeah.
Do with it what you will.
That's
Same
great.
with
you
New
know?
Hampshire.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a necessary evil because a lot of times the girl who wins might be really young, or I don't want to say misguided, but might not be a pageant veteran. Like the year that we competed together, I think Danica Tisdale won, and I think that was her first year competing.
Yeah.
And so if you're a first timer, you might be as poised and as polished as you can be, but you still need some guidance. So I don't fault, you know, pageant boards for saying, fix this, fix that. My pageant board was like, baby, we love you, but your eyeshadow is way too frosty. and it was the truth. And that was my first year. And listen, Miss South Georgia board, I love you. And you guys were right. My eyeshadow was way too frosty.
You can't do the frost. With your skin tone, you cannot be doing
Exactly.
frosty. That's like the Virginia nose.
You know?
Miss
Contour.
Virginia, in all due respect, you need a lesson on contouring your nose. Where camera am I looking to? You need a lesson on contouring your nose. There's a way to do it with your type of nose, and you can Google it easily.
What type of nose is that?
Well, she
Noelle?
did have a little bit, so she had a wider base.
Okay.
So you don't want to, like, do all brown till, like, here. You just want to do a line of brown, which from the front looks great. But the camera angles, again, like on the onstage question, they're all up in the grill.
But I think the real issue underneath
the
this,
angles?
was the fact that the girls have hair and makeup help during preliminary. So they can hire a hair and makeup person, and they can have help all through the week.
No,
when
I
it
think
comes
they
to the
can-
final night, they have to do it themselves.
I thought that they could hire someone the final night.
But
That's
that doesn't
not what
even
I
make
was
any
told.
sense.
But they're not allowed backstage.
When I
You have
was
to do
there-
it like 4 hours in advance.
that
And
that
then
was not
also
available
you-
to me, and I wish
Okay.
it was.
Well,
because I don't know makeup.
There are also, you're doing hair changes and stuff because you're going from talent to this and that. And I feel like the Miss America organization or ABC needs to hire a team. They come on stage like Miss America or Miss USA, and they fix them up.
I mean, you
and,
get
and
Tony
Laura
Bowles.
Spencer or what?
You get Catalina.
She needs it
Yeah.
too.
I mean,
hosts
the
need
girls
it.
are representing the organization.
She
You want
needs
them to
styling.
look as good as you want yourself to look.
Exactly.
Well,
you
you know,
know?
that has to come down to a money thing. I mean, I would think that any organization, any big corporation, if they had the money to spend on
I'm
the
sure
glitz and the
they could get
glam,
volunteers for that. Think about all the makeup artists that would love to put that on a resume. I, did the hair and makeup at the live telecast of Miss America.
I mean, but
Yeah.
who's to say these, in the back of your garage makeup artists are going to do any better
well,
than
they
these
better
girls?
have a license.
Kardashians themselves.
I mean, these girls are paying big money for those hair and makeup people to come out there to stay during the week.
For them to board and travel.
They're there already.
Yeah.
Let them stay, yeah. I hope you guys are there, the makeup crews or the Miss America crew. Hope you're listening to our suggestions. And
I'm sure they're all for it.
you know,
We don't have to convince them.
they love us right now. And speaking of listening, you make sure you go to iTunes after this, and you can rate, you can comment. Make sure you tell a friend. Only takes a minute. Our telecast or our live streams are available on iTunes after they air live. Anything else from talent? Like, does anyone want to talk about talent?
The random fun facts?
The ventriloquist we talked about, the random fun facts.
Somebody got chased by a cheetah.
Attacked by a cheetah.
In Africa.
Some
It's
family
so
had made their own
weird.
theme song. Like, I don't need to know
Their
that.
nickname was
And-
Bob
Yeah,
as a kid.
that shows like that they know that the talent portion's boring and that maybe the ratings
They're
drop at the time.
distracting.
So
Yeah.
they're trying to add fun facts to make it more interesting. And as a result, like, it's just becoming very confusing.
It's becoming a joke.
And
it's becoming
sad.
a joke.
Yeah,
Well,
it's a joke.
Considering that talent is such a huge percentage of the competition, like going through your locals to your state, getting to Miss America, you're supposed to have solid talent. What can we do at the local levels to make sure when we get to Miss America, we don't have to watch this foolishness?
Chris Harrison needs to get like Bachelor serious when he's introducing talent and say, dun dun dun, lights go down. Ladies and gentlemen, this is
Yeah, like American Idol.
40 to 35% of the total score. And, you know, and I'd be
Forget
like,
Chris Harrison, you're hired.
Thank you.
Or actually, you take Laura's place because her hair was whack. Her dresses. I'm sorry, Juliana Rancic hosting USA again. I'm sorry, she knows what she's doing.
Yes.
Costume changes. You've got a few minutes of a break. You better change up that skirt.
Ooh, she didn't change it up. I think that goes back
did
to the
not.
whole wanting to appeal to middle America. Tonight, Lara Spencer really appealed to middle America. I'm going to jump out of bed, not going to do my hair. I'm going to put my bodysuit and my skirt and take my skirt off and put another skirt on top of it. Same bodysuit.
She's like the girl next door.
Yeah, she is the girl
Yeah,
next door.
yeah.
So I get why they had her looking so
Then
understated.
don't televise.
No, okay, no, Noelle. Again, like these are two different audiences. Lara Spencer, I love her. I think she's very friendly and relatable. You know, like, you don't turn to Miss America to see Kate Upton. You turn to Miss America to see your pediatrician. And that's what Lara Spencer looked like today. Someone's pediatrician.
She sure did.
that was good. Girl, that just was a slow clap. That was good. I appreciate that.
I appreciate that too. I agree. And I guess the thing for me is it's just hard for me to accept that because for so long growing up, it's like, you know, you aspire to be this, and then when you get there.
Who were the hosts before? Did we have any problems with them?
was it
Brooke was
one
when
year?
who were your hosts?
yeah.
Brooke Burke, even though she.
Did Mario Lopez do it 1 year?
Yes, he
And
sure
Wayne
did.
Brady did it. Like,
I don't
this
know
was
about
way
Wayne
back.
Brady
No,
do
he did.
America?
Because he did. The year I went, I was like,
I don't know,
yeah,
but a
it was
host,
like
we
years
all
ago.
know, a host is extremely important in moving the
Yeah.
show, getting the excitement, and I think Laura Spencer just has a little bit more of a seriousness, like a newsroom type, approach to this, and it needs to be a bit more fun, lively, and like not approachable but exciting.
But
it's
like-
just boring.
But can you imagine like her being super bubbly, energetic, dare I say sexy? Like in that setting, it wouldn't be appropriate. Now for us, like we're like, oh yeah, we're excited. But for the whole brand, how she acted and looked and dressed tonight was consistent with the with the brand, I think. I mean,
I think the brand's all over the place, but I guess for
I
one
agree
part
with
of it,
you.
I think it's like it's almost like there's two CEOs, it's like the live telecast and then the actual nonprofit organization, and they need to come together
No, I
and
totally agree with you.
figure it out.
Yeah.
on stage questions. On stage questions. This is one of my favorite parts of any competition.
I
Because I
love
feel
it.
like you really get to know, can they handle it?
Yeah.
Can they handle the pressure? Do they even
20
know how to put
seconds.
two words together?
But
Yeah,
this is
20
where I am
seconds, yes.
proud. And I'm like, you
Yeah.
ladies, you own it. Because they, without fail, even if it's the hardest question, which they always are, and I know that USA has kind of gone with what Miss America's doing,
Yeah.
and they're asking harder questions, but those ladies don't
But
handle
I
it.
will admit, America kills it
They
in this
kill it.
part
Yeah.
compared
They
to
kill it.
USA.
They do.
Kill it.
Well,
Like, I'm like,
that's because
she's
these girls
constituents.
work. They get
work.
out there. They have the platform. They know how to talk it. They know
when
how
New
to deal
York,
with the crowd.
When New York said constituents, I didn't even understand what
You're
she
like,
said. But
she
I was
said
like,
constituents.
I
That's
like
a good
that
word.
It's a good.
She has a very
$100
nice
word.
vocabulary.
She probably said no matter what the question is. I
didn't do that, right? You know, did you do that? Did you have your set words?
You had your set words, your vocabulary
I'm gonna
words.
include them no
You're gonna
matter
put- yes.
what.
Who is the coach that you worked with? Like, you're like, didn't you like have your like pageant winning face and you had your pageant work? Like, none of this was planned for me.
It's a secret.
Everything's planned.
Well, okay, listen. I have a question, or I have a comment rather. Miss Florida, this is really interesting to me. With the whole Ray Rice thing, I say the whole Ray Rice thing as if it's something to just gloss over. But with the Ray Rice beating his then fiance in the elevator, Miss Florida was asked that question.
Yeah.
But
how should his wife have handled
Yes.
it? What did she think about the wife handling it?
yeah, like the question was, how do you think that Janae Rice should have handled it? And then she went on this tangent about, well, I say tangent, it was only 20 seconds,
Right.
about how Ray Rice didn't do the proper thing. Duh, that wasn't the question. The question was, what should Janae Rice, what could she have done
What
differently?
action
Well,
should she have taken?
let's start this with Miss Florida was perfect. Every area until here.
Okay, until here. And listen, again, 20 seconds on stage answer questions, very intimidating, can be very intimidating.
Totally.
So I understand how girls get, flubbed up.
Or maybe
Flubbed
she
up.
didn't even hear there could be so many things. But yeah, it's when you don't answer the question, it's kind of like,
Yeah.
Well, and I think we're a different crowd here. I think Middle America is like, oh, she's pretty, and she put like words
Yeah.
together, and it sounded coherent. And I
Right.
think she made a good statement. They probably didn't even remember the question. We're a lot more picky about.
well, yeah, and we're
did you answer
we're
the question?
combing through.
She didn't
yeah.
answer the question. And as a Miss America, like when people are asking you questions because of what you do for a year is travel and respond and speak, you need to be able to answer a question about something as major as an NFL player knocking his wife the F out in an elevator. And I don't think she did that very well. And considering that we're women and she's a woman, obviously, that would have been an awesome opportunity for her to be more fluid in that
Yes.
answer. And I was a little bit disappointed.
That's
Yeah.
true. She
Yeah.
could have
Yeah.
killed it, and she
could
could have
have.
won with that. I actually
Yeah.
didn't even think about that. I really think if she, because that's such a relevant, hot topic that there's only one right answer. Like, you can't take another
Right.
side. So it's like a win-win, and she just didn't jump on it. She wasn't like, she doesn't have that oomph. So, but she was like, perfect.
What I felt bad about is that we have one question about Ray Rice, which is in the news, sports world, all of that. And then you get another question. Poor Miss Virginia gets a question of like, how should we handle ISIS? How should we fix the world and bring peace?
I didn't even hear her question because of the contouring, but
I just felt bad for her because they're not the same.
they're not.
level.
It's always that way, though.
You know, and you can never make it balance that way. You just feel bad for
And
the
I know
girl.
you're
You
always
do,
going
yeah.
to get political questions
Right.
in Miss America, but I always tensed up because if I knew the answer, I would run for president.
Exactly. I love that.
You know,
You're right.
I do what I can. I try to be a good
Well,
citizen.
and don't you think, like, if the president knew, he'd be doing it too?
He'd do it too. But of course, in Miss America, you can't say
Yeah.
that.
Well, I think a girl should just say that. I mean, next
props to her.
telecast. Could you imagine?
I've heard people say it in, like, a one-on-one personal interview,
Yeah.
like, with a panel.
Yeah.
I think
Just not on stage
right.
like
You
that.
should do it on stage. You know what? If I knew, I'd be in the White House, not on stage here. So thank you.
I would slow clap for that one for sure.
And thank you. When in doubt, do the thank you and nod.
I know, but
What's
Not
funny,
always.
to me, I thought the ones that had the weakest onstage questions were New York and Virginia, and those were the last two standing.
Interesting.
Wait, New York's question was what?
We don't
About
ever
women
re-
in Senate.
Yeah, but it was really like a whirlwind. We didn't really
Yeah.
know what the question was, and we really didn't know what the answer was. But she used constituent, and therefore she wins.
You and this
She got a
constituent.
10.
She got a 10 in my book. No, her dress was beautiful as well.
Yeah.
Which I think the onstage question dress is like should be shown more because that's kind of a really where you can show your personality. And then they're doing this close up of the neck and the side angle, and it's
And like I was saying, you don't get to see any of their body
No.
language. It's just straight up on their face. I want to see how they handle it. Do they have
Totally.
any charisma with the audience, with who they're talking
Yeah.
to? I didn't know who. It was like a side angle of his face. Who is she looking at?
It was like us right
Yeah.
now. I was
Right.
like,
yeah. And then then you're just analyzing all of her,
Exactly.
her makeup.
okay, so before we get to the top 5, let's talk really quickly about whether or not we think the top 5 or the top 15 at Miss America is stage? Like, do you think that when you go to Miss America or your state pageant, that the judges in the panel, I mean, the judges in the board of directors, you know, maybe say to the judges, okay, you know, we need for these 15 girls to make it. Or we need for these 10 girls to be, we need for these 5 girls to be in the top 5. I have always wondered how political, because we all know that it is political. I mean, everything that you do
and every
is
year,
political.
it doesn't matter who wins. There are going to be people that say, oh, it was political. We knew, like, the board knew who was going to win ahead of time.
So, I mean, do we think that in this instance this year, or that in years ever, that girls have been pegged or picked before they even get to state,
I think
national competition?
100% the top 5 or top 7 is already pre-decided in any pageant that's televised, which is 2. But I think it's something that
and I think that's where we disagree. I maybe, like I said, maybe I'm just naive, but I don't believe that it is.
But you don't think when you were at Miss America and when you guys were out, not on stage, not competing, when you were out doing your appearances, you don't think that there are people reporting back?
Totally.
I don't know.
Think you're being judged
I remember, because I'm not one to, like, jump in front of the camera and be in the middle of a picture. And I remember pictures, because they get taken throughout the week and your delegation sees it from your state. And I remember people from my board saying, get in the front of the pictures, like, get in there so you're seen more. I think, you know, maybe they thought there was something to it, but I was never in the middle of any picture. I don't know that I ever had much interaction with anybody.
But maybe you were just noticed
and maybe
for
things
being a
were
nice
different.
person or being, you know, maybe people were just like, oh, she's solid.
And you're
she's talented. Like, you don't necessarily have to be front and center, but maybe there were the chaperones saying, you know, she's really on her A game.
Well, it's not even like, so you're like traveling that week with the CEO and chairman and a head of marketing. They're in the buses with you going to all these events. And you're talking. I remember having an in-depth conversation with one of the head of branding people that we talked long after about where their direction's going. And it was like, I felt truly that conversation like showed, you know, that I have a place in, you know, a top position. And I just feel like maybe it's changed, but now with when you're, you know, you need to bring it in terms of ratings, and you have other influences coming in. You have sponsors you need to please. You know, I know some sponsors like, I don't want an ugly girl wearing my stuff all year. So like little things kind of influenced.
Then let's talk about the top 5. Like, why do you think this top 5 was picked?
See, the thing is, I didn't follow their stories at all this year, or, you know, for the past few years. I haven't been really heavily following it. But I know my year, there were stories, and that's, I think it's what, you know, it's not necessarily the girl, it's maybe her looks in combination with the story she can provide for the press. Because at the end of the day, you have to have a reason for someone to want to book her. Otherwise, you're not getting paid, she's not getting paid. It's kind of flops.
So essentially, like, they want, if it is, you know, predetermined who's going to win, you want someone that you can, like, cheer for. You want someone, you know, to whom you can relate. You want someone who is pretty enough.
Three-peat. Like, that'll be the headline on a lot of articles. That's a pitching. So, like, when you're doing a press release, that's a pitching, you know, a huge talking point.
But I would feel like that would be a down point.
Me too. I'm with you on that.
But three-peat, that's such a catchy,
it is,
you know, because maybe there weren't that many girls that had another story.
To me, I'm like, was it fixed?
Well, then maybe people will tune in next year being like, is New York going to win again?
That's true.
I'm just saying, like,
now
it would make me think that.
Is it fixed? And now they can even, I mean, I don't know how in depth this organization feeds the, you know, publicity, but, like, you know, Donald Trump's no fool, and he definitely staged, you know, like Rima, Miss USA, going out, and did you hear that story where she was like out partying? It was like, okay, come on. And so, like, little things like that, even if it's bad publicity, some have that opinion that any publicity is good publicity. Yeah. And with this organization, we all know they're kind of in a little bit of an identity crisis. They could use the extra, you know, controversy.
And I don't know, when I think about the winner, I try and picture her in front of a big crowd trying to speak, and I don't get that presence from her.
But
I liked her. She's cute.
I know. She's definitely cute. Is like...
It was a surprise, for sure. I didn't see it coming.
But who else would it have been?
Florida.
Well, Florida. I mean, Florida. I say Florida, and again, I was very disappointed with her onstage answer to her onstage question. But of the women that we had to pick from at the end, I think Florida would have been, I don't know, the best candidate. New York seemed very... I don't want to say she wasn't polished, but she didn't seem mature. She didn't seem really mature. And, you know, you want a woman who can speak and who can hold her own. You want a woman.
Girl, yeah.
You don't want someone playing flip cup with a freaking solo cup.
And then even at the end when
she was jumping up and
she was like, you know, you're at that moment you're oh my gosh, is this happening? It's sort of an outer body experience. I say it like it happened to me. It happened to you. Tell me if this is right. But it's sort of like,
go on.
Is this what's happening? Is this what's happening? But she just seemed, she was like, I'm ready to do my happy dance, you know, and I was just very young. It was young. But hey, that's her personality.
That's also part of, I think, what's endearing about somebody is that
I
they can
think
have
that's what
fun, but I think
helped her.
you need to have a good balance of, I can command attention in a room, and I know how to have fun and be warm with people. You know?
Yeah, well, there's not every Miss America, not any even state, title holder has that ability to command the attention. But when she'll have plenty of experience throughout this year, where she'll be able to, you do develop. And so maybe sometimes I always say, like, sometimes the organization needs the girl, and sometimes the girl needs the organization.
That's true.
And I think for a while, Miss America's really had a woman that's been able to promote them and like help bring them to the next level. Like with our last Miss America, she brought that diversity.
She did.
And
she did.
And in this case, maybe she needs the organization, and she's going to grow a lot from it.
And I think our outgoing Miss America, Nina, has done wonders for the organization because
And she looked good.
And she looked very pretty. She's very regal.
You go, girl.
And she's the first
She kept her
Indian
weight
American
in check.
to win. Yeah, she kept her weight in check.
I always admire them. It's tough,
It's
so
hard.
tough.
Anybody
You're on the
that
road.
travels
Yeah.
that much for their job,
Yeah.
it's hard to eat well and work
Exercise.
out. And
But
you're
the
tired
past
all the
few Miss
time.
Americas, like if you Google their name, the next populates the most common search after, right? And in theirs, it's weight gain or like gain weight, and so it's like
sad.
it's a
That is
very
sad.
common thing that isn't something that we should be focusing on. So I'm proud of her that she's been able to maintain that.
So New York has now three-peated. You got Mallory, you got Nina, now you have Kira. Of the three, now granted we don't know much about Kira yet. She just won a few minutes ago.
You know her.
I know.
Yeah, you know her.
Yeah, I
Okay.
know mutual friends. We competed at Miss Teenage California together, and I know her circle, and she's actually from California.
Okay.
So, but I'm not like, I don't know her current presence or like where she stood in this competition.
So of the three-peat, who do you think stands out the most?
First of all, is it Nina? Because there's a Miss USA who's Nina. Or Nia. And so it's
Nina.
Nia. It's whatever
Delari.
Nina is.
Yeah,
Nina.
the
It's
last
Nina.
one, Nina.
I think Nina.
I think so too.
I agree.
I think that
I think Mallory.
See, Mallory brought a real.
I wanted to hang out with her. I was like,
Yeah,
we could go to a
she was
bar.
very
Like
real.
she
This
would
is
have
the
a
thing.
beer with me, and we'd
just
hang
like
out.
a president,
Yeah.
everyone has the what they picture their Miss America to be. So
But I
some
also
people,
thought she was smart. I thought she was really smart.
Everyone has a different
Yeah.
desire. Yeah, like you want something different in your Miss America. I like the regal. I like the put together. She was always put together. She maintained her weight. And I like I admire Mallory for doing these whole like no makeup things. I just don't want to see my Miss America do that. I don't. So that's why I pick her.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you like Mallory. I like Nina.
and maybe we'll like
I'm on
Kira.
the fence.
Kira.
Yeah, maybe. I guess we don't. I guess we don't know her enough yet. But I think the one thing we can say about the three of them is that they are totally different.
Totally
All over the board.
different.
So,
Yeah.
Totally
I will say
different.
one thing. Let's at least announce the first runner-up. Can we please?
Yes.
Please.
She deserves everything said.
Coming from the first runner-up.
I mean,
I raised
just
my
like
hand when it was me. It was never me.
Like-
Were you? Did they announce your name?
No, and actually, I didn't even realize it until afterwards. But now, I know it, and I
rude.
pay attention to it.
The
I'm like,
fourth runner-up actually gets the most attention.
Oh, she does because
Paula.
she. There you go. Well, I mean, you're right because everyone's like waiting to hear
Waiting to
the
hear-
first person who's
Yeah.
gonna lose. No offense,
Yeah.
but you're like the first person
Yeah.
to lose.
Yeah, and then there's like kind of a time
and what was
delay.
your reaction?
I knew
Did
actually.
you plan that reaction?
I kind of did. Like, I kind of was like, oh, this is the thing. Before this telecast, I was watching, them set up in like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 countdown, and I knew in my heart, like, I'm not winning tonight. Like, I just knew. So it was like, I knew I was going to make it to the top 5 because I knew I had prepared, like, I was ready for that. But I knew I wasn't going to win. So when they called me fourth, I was kind of like, okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
whatever.
Whatever. Okay.
I was very indifferent.
That's good though.
Well, we
It's good
read
to
on
find.
Florida's face, like, ooh.
Yeah, she was like, you put it
She
very
was-
well. What did you say? You were like, because she seemed so happy to see that, that
Kira
had
won, right? And I was like, well, she was upset she didn't win, but she was happy New York won.
Yeah.
So
Which is
there was
always the second
someone
best.
in there. like she didn't
It's
want to
always-
win.
right.
I don't think that's always funny.
Probably.
It's a fun dynamic.
What was the, I guess, the best and worst experience, not just at Miss America, because you and I didn't go to Miss America, Megan, but just competing in general? I'll go first. Okay.
Go for it.
Go for it.
I can say that my best experience, I think, no, let's start with the worst. My worst experience was...
Oh, we're doing best and worst.
Best and worst
Okay.
experiences competing in the Miss America organization. My worst experience was back in the day. We couldn't have our phones with us. You didn't have your phone with you at Miss Georgia?
I mean, I was so old, I don't even know if I had a phone.
Okay.
I don't
Oh
know.
my gosh, you're not that old.
I remember not being able to have a phone, and I just remember being so sad and then being so happy at visitation nights to get to see like your family, your parents, and your sisters, and then just being so sad when all that was taken away from you because we couldn't have our phones. Like there was
they
no
kind of
active-
They did
isolate
take-
you. For those
yeah.
that
You
don't
had to
know,
leave them in our
they
in our
really
rooms, yeah.
isolate you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I guess
We couldn't even have computers.
we had nothing. My best experience.
Couldn't imagine.
My
Like,
best-
without my little device.
My best experience was definitely earning scholarship money, and I think just overall the Miss America organization teaches you a certain poise and sophistication that you can learn other places,
Yeah.
but to actually be competitive against other like-minded, educated, well-informed women is an experience that you don't really get every day in everyday experiences, whether it's work or play or fun or college. Like all these women are of top caliber, and on so many levels. And that was really good for me to see other women striving and excelling who were my same age and who had similar aspirations.
Yeah. Awesome.
First runner-up?
I'd say the best was probably kind of going on what you were saying. I mean, I don't think anyone can really understand it except for people that have been in that position where you've held a title. It's like you automatically have a fan base that you never really asked for, but it's there, and they're willing to support you, and they make you feel like you are, the best
So
thing
you better
since
get
sliced-
back on Twitter.
I'm not on Twitter. Not happening.
We're getting her back.
No, but I mean that feeling of like,
Being
wow,
cool.
like people love you, and what you say actually can make a difference, and you matter in the world. There's some significance.
Worst experience.
Okay, so I don't know if everybody out there knows. Maybe if you're watching, you probably do know all the message boards.
Yeah.
Do you remember? I mean, are they still out there?
The message boards are like, don't go on the message boards.
So these message boards, anybody can go on there anonymously, and I think things maybe are starting to change because girls have platforms of cyberbullying and things like that. So they're bringing up this big topic of you're on there and you're anonymous and you can just slam people.
Yeah.
Of like I remember one time I had just won my first prelim and it was Miss UGA, and they had asked me to MC, like do the onstage question portion. And I didn't know what I was doing. I'd never spoken in front of people really. And they were like, oh, she was so boring. She was like cardboard. And I was just like,
And look, you still remember that.
I do. And that
Yeah.
was in 2003. That was 11 years
Yeah.
ago. And, I still remember.
It was
Whoever
like
that person
the
is,
Twitter.
I remember.
The message boards were like Twitter before Twitter. Like it was
Yeah.
crucial.
Yeah.
Megan, how about you?
But
Best
I'm
worst?
glad that things seem to maybe be changing a little bit. And so that, are they not?
I don't
Yeah.
know. Now we just have
People
Facebook
get off
and,
the message
and Twitter.
boards. These
and
people don't know what they're talking about. They just want to
Seriously.
cut you down because their girl didn't win.
There's a solution to that because the message boards have like information that you wouldn't like. The Miss America organization needs to put out releases about like this is this and this is information, this is inside news, this is what's going on. That's why like I feel like there's a space for them because above all they give the pictures and that's where people go to see the action. So there are I can't even I'm so bad with the format's so ugly that like I can't even read it. You know what I
good,
mean?
'cause
Like
you're
it's so
not-
bad.
you don't
Yeah,
read it.
the format's like archaic.
It's
It's like
very antiquated.
yeah.
But going along those same lines, for me, I think my worst experience in the system, it wasn't really because of Miss America at all. When I competed on the national level and I went to Miss America's Outstanding Teen, I was a teenager and I was 16, and I went into the Miss New Hampshire's Outstanding Teen pageant not expecting to win. My goal was to get top 10, and then when I won, I was like, what?
No, what do I do?
This is amazing. But so you're on such a high, but then you go compete at a national level, and especially being 16, you're so self-conscious. Everyone's gorgeous. Everyone has all these like chaperones and people like like prepping them, and I'm like, I'm a little girl from New Hampshire. Like, what am I doing here? And I just felt very down on myself, and I wish I enjoyed the experience a little bit more. But I have noticed that Miss America's Outstanding Teen obviously is growing and becoming so great, and these girls are so poised and going on to do fantastic in the Miss America organization. And I think the best thing for me is just growing up, being a poised woman, being able to go into job interviews and nailing it because we were prepped so well in our for our careers and future careers because of this organization.
Noelle, what you got? What you got, Noelle?
My worst is kind of like yours. Like, I feel like it gives you a place to grow and people pump you up, and then as soon as it's done, people are the first to just not support anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that transition, there needs to be more like a guidance with that, because the second, you know, you're not relevant in their space, it's like they don't, you know, they're the first ones to tear you down. And it's like, you were, you know, the people that pumped me up all year, and now, you know, you don't even care about, you know, having my back. That's how I personally feel with, you know, the Miss America organization. There's no one to help you after. There's no one there except for
And I don't know if you felt this way, because you did really well at Miss America also. And even after your year, I feel like you've reached such a public height, a peak of some sort. And then I felt like, and I wish more people would talk about this with girls that are competing now and preparing. What do you do afterwards? Is your identity completely wrapped up in a pageant? Aren't you more than that?
Right,
You're more than a pageant. So there's a pressure on you to feel like you have to one-up yourself.
That's true.
Amen.
And it's not always going to happen that way.
I think I can speak for both me and Megan when I say, if you haven't won a state pageant, like, you probably don't have that kind of pressure.
Right.
I mean, like, there's a different kind of pressure with having been a
but
Miss
didn't
Georgia.
your friends maybe look at you to be a certain
I felt
way?
like guys too. Like, I was single, and so it was like I tried everything in my power to like not hide that, because it was like they expect so much is expected of you because of that. It's like, can I just be like kind of like not associated with it sometimes? And I just
I rarely ever bring up that I did pageant.
I know, but then you're
rarely
because
ever.
they Google
a negative stereotype when it shouldn't be.
Well, and I'd much rather
they Google and they can see.
Yes, but I'd much rather somebody find out than me sit there and seem like I'm bragging about it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But they like, I feel like from social media or like Google, whatever, they find out, and it's like I don't ever say it, and then all of a sudden they'll bring it up, and it's like, you know, people will find out, and you know, or maybe the way, I don't know.
But I'd rather them find out and be pleasantly surprised that I'm a nice, normal person.
Worse.
Right.
I don't think so.
It's all no. I just don't want them finding out at all.
Noelle, what was your best experience?
I'm proud of it. I just don't want to
experience.
sit there and brag about it.
My best experience. I have a few. Like, I have a lot.
You can only pick one. Sorry.
Okay, fine. I think just because like my best friends are, you know, former Miss America contestants. It's the friendship. Like you said, there's no one that gets it. Like, you don't even compare to the people that you've competed with. And like, my best friends are people that I competed with on the Miss America stage. Holla, Miss Wah.
Miss Delaware, Becky.
Miss Wah, Brittany Henry. I have a few. I have a lot. And we have a good sisterhood, and it's like I can always go to them, and you know, we are going through the same thing. And you can't find that. It's really tough to find that.
And before we wrap, guys, just for women out there watching, little girls out there watching, you know, it's such a positive organization. It's such a positive thing to be a part of. I mean, we definitely talked about the pros and the cons. You know, comparing
that was a telecast.
You know,
we're like talking about the
actual
to
like
fix that
being a part of the actual process is the most.
I mean, could you actually say you would be the person you are today if it weren't?
No,
exactly.
Absolutely not. Right?
Not even a chance. Every connection I have in business is somehow linked through the Miss America organization.
Yep. So little girls out there, you know, keep competing, because it's an amazing organization. Your life will be forever changed, and you will meet cool, awesome, fabulous people like the four of us. I mean, come on. Hope you guys
Flip the little hair that I got.
Flip your hair. Hope you guys enjoyed watching Miss America. If by some chance you're just tuning into the live stream, you can catch this on AfterBuzzTV.com. You can also catch it on AfterBuzz's YouTube. Remember iTunes. Go to iTunes. You can download the podcast on iTunes. Rate, comment, tell a friend. Don't be scared. It only takes a minute. I'm Erica, former Miss Georgia, Monica Pong, Miss Megan, former New Hampshire Outstanding Teen, Miss California 2011, Noelle. Thank you for joining us, guys. Until
Bye, guys.
next year. See ya.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.